This is the Buzz Williams Show, and we are at Rudy's, and the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, Buzz Williams, with us. The Aggies are 2-0 after last week beating Louisiana Monroe 87-54. That's how they opened up this season and followed up on Friday night with a 77-58 win over Abilene Christian. The win over Louisiana Monroe, 5 Aggies in double figures, 4 of them in double figures with a win over the Wildcats. And what is ahead is a trip to Myrtle Beach. The Myrtle Beach Invitational, Thursday, Friday, Sunday will be that invitational for the Aggies, and they'll open up with Murray State on Thursday. Head coach with us. Oh, I got something delivered to me. Howdy, Coach. Good to see you.
Good to see you. How you doing?
Good to be with you.
Good to be with you.
I missed you on Friday.
We were working.
Yeah.
Do you work on Fridays?
Yeah, I'm preparing for Saturday. We played on Saturday.
And locale of preparation is important to you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The Renaissance Hotel in Montgomery, Alabama. That's where it is.
I didn't know they had a Renaissance in Montgomery.
Yeah, they do. Not a bad hotel, by the way. Not a bad hotel.
Do we stay in Montgomery?
No, we get to stay on campus. Football does not.
They must give us a discount to stay on campus.
A slightly smaller group, I believe.
Oh, that's
traveling
probably
party, right?
Yeah, that's probably part of it.
It's really something. We'd stay in Birmingham for Alabama for football. Montgomery.
How far is that from Tuscaloosa?
About an hour. Each is about an hour. So.
Oh, you never stay in the town where you play?
Not. Some we do. Starkville we do. Most of them, it's usually just a little bit outside. Like we stayed in.
Starkville has a hotel big enough?
They have one just barely.
Our helper says they got 2.
Kevin, they do. Yeah.
I bet they charge more than $100 to spend a night there for a football weekend.
Guaranteed. It's
That's
Kevin,
important to their economy, would be my guess.
Yes, it is. That's the closest one, isn't it? Kevin, that's the one that we get to walk to. We actually get to walk to that
from the
stadium.
Hotel to the stadium
in Starkville. Yeah.
When I'm not coaching, I'm going to go to every SEC road game. Football.
Do it with us. You have an open invitation to be in the booth.
I guess it depends on how my departure from here ends, but
hey, look, Buzz, I'm day-to-day, too. You know what I mean?
I think they fired every basketball coach that's ever worked here except for Coach Metcalf.
Yes, that's exactly right. They just didn't.
So I would say it would be on Corey and I's dime.
Yeah, and they just.
But I've met some of the couples that travel in
style.
The big vans. What are they called? What are they called?
You're talking like those luxury vans?
No, like the huge.
Oh, those RVs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good way to do it, too.
That's the way I want to do it.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
And then pull into the parking lot and you hook up all the stuff and you just stay there.
Yeah.
And then you don't need a hotel.
No, it's a great pregame. You kidding? You got everything right there for you.
I want to do that soon.
All the SECs.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be a blast.
I want to do that. I want to go to the Masters.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to the U.S. Open. Is that what it's called, sweetheart, in September in New York?
Tennis.
Yep. I got a lot of things I got to get done.
This is after coaching, right? You're going to do this after coaching. And we want you to be here for a while.
Well, I'm not going to be able to do it during coaching, I don't think. We have to work on Fridays, so that kind of cuts into the weekend travel.
That's a good point. Yeah. But, you're going to stick around for a little while, right?
It's a hard job.
It's an ever-changing job.
Yes.
Right? We've talked about that. 2-0 for this team this past week. You go through all that run-up, Buzz, and you get the game, and the lights get bright, and the team responds each time. What did you think of last week and the 2 victories?
Yeah, I was encouraged. I thought we did some really good things. I think the togetherness of our group is evident. I think they're playing with great synergy through 2 games, through 1 week in the season. I think our staff is functioning at a very high level in regards to boiling down what's most important relative to the opponent. Our kids are receiving that in the right way. I thought there was a lot of good things. There was a lot of bad things, too, that we have to correct. Not trying to overcoach on a radio show, but we have to play with a lower turnover rate. We fouled way too much on Monday night. We didn't foul as much when you weren't there. I'm not saying that those things are coupled. It was just something that came to my mind as I was reviewing it on Saturday. What's the guy's name that did it in place of you?
Matt Simon.
So Matt's record's the same as yours.
Correct.
And we fouled distinctly less.
Correct.
So we may have to talk to Lear. I may have to represent Matt with Learfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe we can do like a extra pregame show with Matt and a assistant coaching radio show with Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say
expand it.
I was going to do the first half of this show and then Matt do the second half.
Maybe that's the play. Maybe that's the play because I'm not willing to commit any more time to extracurricular activities.
Yeah, hold on. Let me text Jimbo and tell him that I can't go on football anymore.
No, you can.
Buzz. Oh,
yes,
okay.
I wouldn't text Coach anything right now. I'd leave Coach alone.
You know what? This might be a good time to take our first break. Huh? How about that? He's Buzz Williams.
I wouldn't text me or Coach, for that matter.
Head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies. More about this Aggie basketball team when we return. It's the Buzz Williams Show, and we are at Rudy's. And this is Aggie basketball from Learfield. Basketball and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood, and Rudy's smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. And that is where we are for this edition of the Buzz Williams Show. The Aggies 2-0 after their 2 wins last week, and leads us to a question which plays right into this. It's from Steve. Buzz, how do you build team chemistry with the new players from the transfer portal and the returning players?
I don't know that I have the complete answer to that, but I do think that the answer to that is probably a huge part of success going forward. There's no way to, in years past throughout my career, you could kind of say, well, we have 3 seniors on the team. Maybe one kid leaves, maybe one kid, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. So occasionally I would say, this is the start of my 16th year. I would say maybe 2 times, 3 times in my career I've, quote, oversigned. And now you look at our roster, and COVID for sure has a part of that because the kids that were enrolled in college during COVID do not have to make a decision on if they're going to use the COVID year until their original eligibility has expired. And so we signed Bryce Lindsey last week, and we have been recruiting Bryce for the last 2 years, have a great relationship with him and with his family, specifically his dad. And I flew to Baltimore a few weeks ago, and the dad asked me, he's like, Buzz, who else are you guys going to sign? And I go, well, hopefully we're going to sign Bryce, but we're not going to sign anybody else. And he said, well, what about in the spring? And I go, well, I can't answer that because I don't know who's going to leave or if anybody is going to leave. And so it's so hard. There's not a hard and fast, this is how many we need. I would not have thought this time last year when you and I were talking that we would have needed to sign 6 players. Right. Do I think that we're going to need to sign 6 this year? No. But I didn't think that this time last year. And so to answer that question, as soon particularly the transfers, it happens very fast and it's very intense. Typically speaking, the kids that you sign in November, there's a long-term process of building the relationship, of the recruiting, the home visits, the campus visits, the unofficial visits, going and seeing them play multiple times. That's not the case with transfers. Kids enter the portal, well, number one, you can't go see them play. Right. So you're just watching them on the computer relative to their previous institution. Just like there's unintended consequences to every decision, no matter what decision you make. And one thing that I've already noticed through 3 games, like tomorrow is 2 days before Murray State. And one of the things that we do in 2 days before is personnel. And so Coach Rock, that's one of his buckets. He's in charge of personnel. Beatty is his assistant. And so I meet with them 3 days before to learn the personnel for 2 days before. I don't present it. It's just for me to begin to process it. Let me watch the clips. What's the depth chart? Who plays the most? What is one of the things that I always ask Rock is, how do they sub? Mm-hmm. And based on how they sub, should that dictate how we sub to get matchups the way we want? And an unintended consequence in the transfer portal is tomorrow we're going to show clips of personnel from Murray State. Murray State's played 2 games. They played a non-Division I, which we won't show,
right,
and they played St. Louis. So there's 1 game to show personnel, which is not enough. But they have 8 transfers. So we'll be showing clips of the Andrew Monaco at Murray State when he was playing at St. Louis. Hey, guys, this is Andrew when he was at St. Louis. He wears number 2. He plays at Murray State. We have 2 clips from the first game they played, but here's all the other clips to show Andrew's game. And, like, for me, just because I'm so linear in how I think, I'm like, as I'm doing the depth chart on my game charts, I'm like, right, what number is Andrew? He's number 2. Okay, where did he transfer from? Well, he transferred from St. Louis. Okay, well, what grade's he in now? Mm-hmm. Well, it depends on COVID. It's his 3rd year in school. Okay, was he the first guard off the bench? Was he the first forward off the bench? Just like Henry. Henry, quote, starts at the 5 for us, but as soon as we put Bug in, Henry goes to the 4. So on my depth chart, hey, the first post off the bench is Bug, but Henry's probably still going to stay in the game. So Bug is subbing in for Solo, but he's not Solo's position. So as I'm trying to process all that, I'm like, oh, man. Like, it takes me an extra hour or so just to get all of that straight in my head. And I think it's the same thing on this. Like, you're recruiting those kids in such a short amount of time. Well, you're recruiting them in April. They're on somebody else's campus.
Right.
Like, to me, this is the wrong word to use. It's dirty. Like, why am I going to St. Louis to recruit Andrew? We may play St. Louis. Andrew has a coach at St. Louis. And so it's very unique. But the same thing is happening at Texas A&M for that matter.
Right.
Kids that go into the portal, there's multiple coaches coming to recruit Marcus Williams, coming to recruit Aaron Cash. Like, they're here. And, like, I know the coaches. Hey, man, just stop by the office. How you doing? You know what I mean? Like, it's very unique. And so I think soon as they get here, the summer becomes even more important. A little bit on how you play, but 98% on just getting to know them. And then I think another unintended consequence, and I think our staff has done a good job staying ahead of this, it's very NBA-esque in that, hey, this is how we play defense. This is how we play offense. And there's going to be a portion of your group that as their tenure unfolds, they grow into that. Mm-hmm. But there's a portion of your group that you need to plug them in and play.
Right.
And so your style of play can't be so complex that the Andrew that's a transfer that you plug into play, he's like, Buzz, I don't even understand this. Because now all of a sudden you've wasted that scholarship / you have experience with Andrew, but the style of play is so complex that Andrew can't do it until he's had 1,000 of reps. And so I think this is year number 2 of what we're doing defensively, but everything we're doing offensively, 80% of it's brand new, and that's one of the things that we constantly have a conversation about amongst our staff. Let's make sure that the words we use are succinct and always apply. So here comes Andrew. Andrew's never heard anything in our language in words we use, and Andrew's a guard, and here's 4 who's been here 2 years. We need to make sure that the words that Andrew hears are the words that 4 knows, and that 4 can help Andrew with those words when we're not here. But let's make sure that those words are actually accurate. And it's changed the job. I mean, there's a whole new category that I could talk about specific to that question. But I do think that the number one currency anymore, maybe it applies in all industries. It for sure applies in this one, the relationship currency.
Yeah.
Like, you have got to gain traction with those relationships in a very trustful way, in a meaningful way, because otherwise it's, they say you can transfer once. That's not true. You can transfer every year.
Yeah.
And for us, in how we do things, I think we're much more succinct. But at the same time, when you are a total development program, like I think that we're trying to aspire to become, you need guys to stay in your program. You look at Ford, you look at Henry, you look at Mo, you look at those guys that are going into year 2, and even through 1 week, you're like, whoa. Abilene Christian, Henry Coleman, last year, 4 in game number 2 of his freshman year versus Abilene Christian. And I was talking to Bug about this Saturday morning. He was like, well, Coach, this and that. And I'm like, hey, Bug, didn't you watch those clips when Henry Coleman looked like he was in a blender last year against Abilene Christian? It's okay that you were in that same blender,
yeah,
but you see where Henry is after 1,000 reps, right? And so everybody's going to be at different points, but kind of how you guide them and how you lead them is critical.
Buzz Williams, head coach, Texas A&M, will continue with the Buzz Williams Show. From Rudy's, this is Aggie basketball from Learfield. Buzz Williams Show rolls on from Rudy's. Talking with the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, Buzz Williams. Watching us on Facebook, Walt Curtis has checked in from Monterey, California. Says, we appreciate you, Coach. So, Ian's dad checking in. He's not going to miss the show, so he is checked in on Facebook.
Ian's dad was at the pizza party the other day before shoot-around. I think that was on Friday, your day off, or prep day. We had a pizza party, had about 100 people there.
It was my one-day prep. I just want you to know.
Yeah, one-day prep. One-day prep, isolated regardless of locale. I'm looking for those one-day preps where I get isolated.
By the way.
What do you walk on the treadmill for an hour?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have your food delivered at whatever sequestered location you are?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to see if Corey can arrange that for me.
Yeah.
One day before.
By the way, that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, it was fun. There was about and they joined the prayer walk, those that stayed for shoot-around. It was pretty good. We probably had, I don't know, Josh would know, but it was a pretty good turnout, mostly students, which is what I was hoping. We had some people my age and older show up. Ian's dad's younger than me, but you guys know that Ian's going to make a decision. He's going to major in sports journalism.
Yep.
And he's been accepted at Missouri.
Yep.
He's been accepted at Texas A&M.
Yep.
I think there's a few other schools.
There are a few others.
He's involved with.
Visited Columbia, right? There's that school that shall not be named, right? That one? It's in the running. Yeah, that's okay. Everyone's allowed to one mistake in their life. So, but Buzz, you tied it into Aggies Can, and how'd the players react having something?
I never even told them. I'm sure. I think they saw it on social media, but I didn't want it to take away from what they were doing. I need to do a better job of finding ways to connect with people that support us and care about us and spend their time and money and effort and energy. I'm just I'm so routine. And so, like, hey, why don't you drive 2 hours over here and have this rubber chicken dinner and speak for 12 minutes? Like, I just can't do that. Like, I can't. I haven't ever done that. But how can I be more accessible and be more engaging where it doesn't completely overturn my route and rhythm to a day? And so we had shoot-around at 1. I think we started that at a little before 12:30. And there's things that I do the morning of a game. And so there was like a 30-minute window, and it worked perfect. Say hello, buy everybody pizza, kind of hang around. We took a road game pick, and then went straight down the floor to shoot around. So it worked out good.
I know it can't be totally transparent. I get it. But it's nice to open up a little bit of a window for those fans to see, especially the prayer walk, Buzz.
Yeah, and we were doing a short clock play at the end of practice that we had installed the day before. and it's immature on my part. And so I always say when we're running a play for Andrew to score and Andrew doesn't score, I always say in jest, guys, don't worry about that. I'll make sure we have a shooter in when we run this play. And so our players, they think that's funny. So, like when Andrew on our team misses the shot, the silly guys will be like, don't worry about it, Andrew. Coach Buzz will have somebody in that can shoot during the game. And so we're running a late clock play to end shoot-around. We had a miss, and they respond, don't worry about it. Buzz will have somebody in that can shoot. And so I sub somebody else in. Hey, man, good point, guys. Yeah, he wouldn't be in. That was my fault. Hey, so-and-so, you get in. We run it, and he misses it. Oh, no, Buzz, now what? Like 8 of them missed. And the students I had told them like 8 minutes before, hey, everybody head to the baseline, like Head to the baseline because I don't want to waste time, so hurry up and get down there. Well, they didn't know what we were about to do. So they're all over there with their phones because it's turning into funny with our kids, and they're taping it. And Lyle's going, do not post that. Do not post that. We don't want anybody to see it. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. And I'm like, wow, they're college kids. They don't know what it is. And I was like, yeah, I know, but somebody knows what it is. I was like, okay, yeah, my fault. I shouldn't have invited them.
No, you should have. That was a blast. That was, again, you've embraced this university and this 12
yeah, I've got to find other ways to where it's the right thing for them / the right thing for us. I want to give our energy and effort to my family first and to our program second. But I think there's a groundswell of support that's beginning to happen. And I guess in a selfish way for our players, I kind of want to flame that a little bit. And so I've got to continue to try to think of creative ways to be able to do that.
More with Buzz Williams when the Buzz Williams Show rolls on from Rudy's. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. Not everyone's a morning person yet, but with Costa Vida's new breakfast tacos, everyone will be. Try our bacon, egg, and cheese or specialties like the machaca beef and egg or sweet pork, egg, and cheese. Stop by our drive-thru any day from 7 to 10:30 a.m. Order online through the Costa Vida app or the website. Become a morning person at Costa Vida. That's our friend Holly down there at Costa Vida. And as I mentioned before, you can get them for breakfast, I'm guessing. They have churros now, so that just makes it even better. Buzz Williams Show rolls on from Rudy's as the Aggies will head to Myrtle Beach for the Myrtle Beach Invitational. Going to go back to something, though, you mentioned earlier because it's fascinating to me when it comes to roster construction. Yep. From this point on, because I asked you last year about COVID, when does the rubber band bounce back? Everything. From this point on, does it become a little more, I don't like using the word normal when it comes to that, but more in your roster construction?
Yeah, with each passing year. So if you were in college when that legislation went into effect, if you were in college, quote, during COVID, you are allowed an extra year of eligibility. If you were not in college during COVID, then you don't. So like when Four and Mo, who were freshmen, came here, they were in high school during COVID. Right. So they don't get an extra year. But Henry was at Duke, so Henry gets an extra year. Bug was at Michigan State. He gets an extra year. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to use the extra year. So, yeah, there is a class where it's officially over whether you were in college or in high school. I think it's 2025. I think that's what it is. But if you were in college when it happened, then like Eric Pratt, he was in junior college, which is college, during COVID, so he has an extra year. So we have multiple players on our team that still have years of eligibility left.
If you were to construct the roster the way you wanted, is there a certain number of seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen? Yeah,
like at Marquette, I was there 6 years. I was at Virginia Tech 5 years. When we took the job at Marquette, I shouldn't have got the job, but there was more stability and prior success. When we took the job at Virginia Tech, they had finished in last place 3 years in a row. We finished in last place in year number 1. So there was much more roster upheaval early on during our tenure at Virginia Tech just because of the state of the program. But I think, that's where, many of the lessons that I learned in regards to philosophical thoughts on roster construction throughout most of my career. This is my 29th year as a college coach. So I would say the first 25, when you're talking whether I was a head coach or an assistant coach, hey, if you had a choice, you would want 3 players in each class, and so that there was some continuity. And that 13th kid, if you used all 13 scholarships, would just be a floater regardless of class. And then you could almost kind of do the same things as football would say, a 2-deep depth chart. Mm-hmm. So you want 2 guys at every position, that's 10, and now you got 3 floaters if you are using all 13 scholarships. So you would want a combo, somebody that could play the 1 and the 2. We always kind of played to the right is what we called it. We want somebody that could play the 3 or the 4 because we like to play small, and then we would want somebody that could play the 4 or the 5. But every coach is a little different. Some of that is based on style of play. Categorically speaking, throughout my career, I've always preferred to play with more guards than forwards. And I love the radio shows and the tweets when Twitter started. Hey, when are you going to sign a big guy? And I don't know. We're still looking for him, and we're winning 20-plus games, and you're asking an asinine question. And, it was just comical, hey, let's get the 7-footer who looks good when we get off the plane and can't play a lick, and we got a 6'4" guy out there just running around circles and making threes and dunking over him. But that was just kind of an inside joke, but I don't say that publicly anymore.
No, anymore. I think it was the Get Better that you did this summer, and I thought this was fascinating. You said if you're going to be a leader, you're not leading the individual, you're leading the family. Yeah. That also applies to recruiting, because you said a word that Jimbo has used, relationships. Yeah. If it's not a relationship, Buzz, then it's just a transaction. And then it doesn't matter where you go, right? You've got to have that relationship. And you use the word trust as well.
Well, we played on Friday, and so Saturday was an off day for us. And this is a unique week because we play 3 games in 1 week, and how do you manage their body? How do you manage their mind? So we were off on Saturday, and so I went recruiting on Saturday. And I know this doesn't make sense. My family is completely aware of it. My children are probably more aware of it than they should be. But, I don't sleep the night of a game. So if we play on Friday night, I'm not sleeping Friday night. I have enough energy to be able to do Saturday, but the impact on my body and my brain is always 2 days after. Mm-hmm. So don't sleep on Friday night and run that out through Saturday night. And so I feel it on Sunday. So for our team, we typically have 1 day off per week, and that 1 day, whenever it is the day after a game. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, you can rest. Yeah, you can rest if you're normal and you sleep the night of the game. Right. But, I would like to close down the game the day after the game, and I would prefer to take the day off 2 days later, but then that interrupts whatever is coming next in regards to the game. So I went recruiting on Saturday, and Corey and I text all day throughout the day, and she's like, when are you coming home? And I'm like, as soon as the staff will let me, I'm on my way. I can't even hardly sit here. I'm a zombie. So I left where I was at at 9:30 Saturday night, and I'm fried. But we have to work on Sunday because we were off on Saturday. And I saw a coach after one of the games on Saturday, and he was talking about one of the parents that I know of a kid on his team. And I said, Coach, I'll be honest with you. we're recruiting him because of his mom. Mm-hmm. And he said, you don't like him? And I go, yeah, I'm okay with the kid. But for me, as a parent, in this new model, I spend more time with the parents, or as much time with the parents as I do the kids, because so much of what Twitter says is the problem is these kids are transferring. I understand. Yes, they have to own that. But a portion of this 40% of the population transfers is the adults and them living in an alternate reality of what this is. And so as much time as I can spend with a parent, this is what I believe, this is how we operate, this is the way we do things. Not saying it's right at all, but I want you to be completely aware, because I have to have comfort that if your son comes here, when your son calls and says, man, Buzz is just always on me, that I've already explained to you before your son gets here why I'm always on him. Because if the parent or the coach or the summer league coach or the AAU coach, if they're not on board with how you go about things, you have no shot. Because that's who that young man has been with for 18 plus years. And so the coach, it kind of caught him off guard, and he was like, I've never heard a coach say that, never a head coach. And I go, I'm not saying that that's right. I'm just telling you the truth. It is refreshing to me to talk to an adult who has some old school, in my opinion, philosophies on what's important to the experience for their son. Yes, I hope they score 100,000 points. I hope they go to the NBA. I hope they're a Hall of Famer. I hope they make multi-billions. But past all of that, here's really what we do every day. And I want the parents to be completely at peace with how we do it. And so in recruiting, in roster construction, I make that's one of the things that the staff gives me every week. Every Sunday, they give me a list of who to call and who to text. And it's 2 a day, every day. Mm-hmm. And then I report back to them, this is what the conversation was, this was the text exchange, this is whatever. Because they're doing it every 4 hours, and I'm doing 2 a day. And I always tell them I have to have peace that I believe in them, because that's the biggest swing vote in our program. You look at our team. Was Wade Taylor a 5-star? No. Was Solo? No. Was Dexter? No. Was Boots? No. Was Henry? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's the opinion of others. Right. And that opinion never secretes into the walls of our office. The most important star is the star that I give you. And the star that I give you is based on, do I believe in who you are and how you were raised? We'll figure out your talent. We're not into signing bad players. But too much is made of talent, and not as much, in my opinion, is made of character and is made of work ethic and of being a teammate. And you look at those, we started those 5 guys, and I'm like, they're all right. But like, hey, now if you want to get in a fight, yeah, they're coming with me. They're coming with me. Now, are like they the best athlete, and are they this and that, and did so-and-so recruit? No, because that probably doesn't translate to how we operate. Right. And that doesn't mean that we do it the right way. That's not what I'm saying. But I think we're for sure I am. I'm very convicted about how we do it. And then when you look at our staff, we have 80 years of experience of our staff with me. So there's not mixed messaging. There's not, well, I wonder if Buzz is going to think about this. Like, we all know we've been riding together and on the same circus train for a long time, And so Yeah, I think the parents are very important.
I just saw this today that you're not the mom is not giving you her son. She's giving you her heart.
Oh, yeah, and,
right?
and just like what you were saying that you saw where I was teaching in that class, like the other day, as an example, post-game, the women played game number 1, and there's popcorn on the floor on the first row. And I stopped practice. Hey, guys, come here. You see that popcorn? Why is that popcorn on the floor? Somebody didn't clean it. Yep. Now, how many of you guys saw that popcorn on the floor? I didn't see it, Coach. Well, if you saw it, you should have picked it up, right? Because we want to leave it better than we found it. But I'm not blaming anybody for that popcorn. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe they got sick. They missed it. No problem. But how do we now view who's supposed to have cleaned that popcorn? Oh, they don't work. Well, they didn't do their job. Well, they didn't do their job well. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying to you guys. I'm going to be at my house or I'm going to be at my office. But wherever it is that you guys go, you guys represent me. And wherever it is that I go, I represent you. And since I represent you and you represent me, that means you represent my family. And that means I represent your family. That's in the job that you do. That's in the words that you say. That's in the body language that you have. That's in how you treat other people. Like, I'm not mad at whoever cleaning crew didn't do this. I'll clean it up right now when you guys go back to the drill, because I want everything associated with how we operate. Wow, they do things at a high level. Yeah, it doesn't mean we're the most talented. No, they do things at a high level, and you represent me. And so you do represent the families, and you do have to make decisions on the families. And that's a very difficult thing. I always abide by team rule number 1, but that's a very difficult thing. Hey, why is so-and-so not here? This is why he's not here. Why is so-and-so not cleaning that popcorn? This is why he didn't clean the popcorn. Yeah, but you represent more than just yourself, and you represent more than just our program. And not being egotistical, you represent more than just Texas A&M. And I know that's important to people that care about Texas A&M. But before it can get to people that care about Texas A&M, it has to be about the people that are in this group and the families that they represent.
He's Buzz Williams. It's the Buzz Williams Show. We'll step aside to Aggie basketball from Learfield. This is called a bridge, everybody. All Hands Craft Cocktails is a new bar-strength canned cocktail made with 6 times distilled vodka and 10% ABV to make sure you never have to sacrifice the quality of your drink. All Hands Craft Cocktails, founded by Aggies and a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. The next segment is the last segment, the Buzz Williams Show. Come on back to Rudy's. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. Wrapping up the Buzz Williams Show here at Rudy's. And because I'm a big old chicken, I'm waiting until about 7:55, almost 7:56, to tell Coach I'm not going to be at Myrtle Beach for the 3 games this weekend. So I waited this long because I didn't want to.
Well, we play on Friday, and I know Friday's your sequestered and isolation prep day, so I wasn't expecting you to work. Well, we'll try to – I'll talk to Coach Lair about that tomorrow.
Okay.
Try to make sure we don't play any games on Friday of next year or Saturday of next year until after Christmas, and then maybe you can – all right, now, when you don't do our games, are you taking the money from Learfield as if you do?
Oh, yeah.
Or are you giving the percentage of money to Will?
No, I'm definitely taking it. You know why? Because it goes to the person that you like better.
Well, she's a lot better than you are.
And
I mean, that's like, do you like Buzz or Corey? Everybody likes Corey.
She's going to hate this, though. It's her birthday tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday.
It's Laura's birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
If you come by practice tomorrow, we'll you get to pick your favorite dessert now. That's a new change.
Ooh.
It used to just be like cookies in the afternoon, or if it was an early bird, you got donuts. And then I asked Landry, just let everybody pick whatever their favorite dessert is and just stick a candle in it. The guys have they've chosen some good stuff, like different things, and everybody gets that treat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
So you can come by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sing happy birthday.
Yeah. Basketball luncheon tomorrow, by the way. The next one
with
Buzz and Joni. Yeah.
Is that right?
Is it Buzz and Joni?
That is counting as my radio
He's
show. He's
counting that as one of his 12.
Yes, I am not giving my money back from Learfield, but it does count.
Yeah, it does. So that'll be the second. So you only have after this 8
I don't
more.
know how well I'll be dressed tomorrow. We practice at 10:30.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because we leave tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, good point.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Good point. Yeah.
I need to pack.
Buzz, thank you, by the way.
Good to see you.
Pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
He is Buzz Williams, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, and the Myrtle Beach Invitational starts Thursday. 2:30 will be the Dos Equis tip-off show as the Aggies take on Murray State. Thursday, Friday, Sunday is the 3 games of that Myrtle Beach Invitational. David Campbell will be working with John Thornton. Kevin Menchow is the engineer here at Rudy's. Bobby Blackburn is the producer in our Learfield studios. For Buzz, I'm Andrew. Thanks so much. Thanks and gig 'em. This is Aggie Basketball from Learfield.